Zach LaVine just went absolutely nuclear in Detroit as the Kings beat the Pistons 127-117. They are one win or Phoenix Suns loss away from clinching a play-in spot, and you are listening to Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. And before we talk about Zach LaVine's insane shooting performance, before we talk about DeRozan's excellent game, Domantas Sabonis' triple-double, some of the under-the-radar unsung heroes in this Kings win, before we get to all of that, we have to talk about from the team perspective, and all those guys plus more played a part in this. This was a gritty, physical, hard-fought, proud victory and effort by the Sacramento Kings. Like there's just no other way to put it, right? Throw away all the frustrations that we've had with this team. Hell, 3 games ago, the Kings lost to the Washington Wizards, and I was crashing out here on the Locked On Kings podcast. Throw everything away. Just focus on what the Sacramento Kings did tonight, how they performed tonight. That is, I mean, it's a slogan, it's a cliche, it's something that some people might roll their eyes at, but that's Sacramento proud. That's representing the city. That's what Kings fans want, expect, demand, respond to, and pour their hearts, loyalty, love, and support into without hesitation. Efforts and fight like that, like what we just saw from the Sacramento Kings. No Keegan Murray, out for the second straight game with a back injury. Malik Monk goes down with an injury in the first quarter, is held out the rest of the game. It's the third game in 4 nights, and the Kings starters played between 39 and 42 minutes the night before when they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. They fell behind by 18 points at one point in Detroit on the final game of a 6-game road trip. Not just that, the final game of the final road trip this season. All reasons to stack the deck against the Kings and for them to kind of just go, you know what? Not our night. Is what it is. Let's hop on a plane and let's head back to Sacramento. Now, none of us would have accepted that mindset. None of us would have been okay with that excuse considering the games that the Kings have dropped throughout the course of this season, but especially earlier on in this road trip when they started the road trip 0-3. But so many valid reasons for the Kings not to give us the effort that they provided through the second half of this game. And offense is going to take center stage. What Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan did especially is going to take center stage. But I wanted to make sure I started with this stat specifically. The Kings' defense held the Detroit Pistons to just 45 points in the second half after they gave up 72 points in the first half. So we'll talk about Zach LaVine going nuts. We'll talk about DeMar DeRozan's big shots. But holding the Pistons to 45 points, nearly a 30-point improvement from the first half to the second half on the road, all those circumstances I just laid out. That is very impressive. Very impressive to me. Something that regardless of how I feel about this team, regardless of how I feel about this season, I'm not going to turn my nose up at and ignore because it doesn't fit my narrative of what I believe this team to be. That goes beyond feelings. That is acknowledgement of true effort, hustle, intensity, winning basketball. Everything anyone who calls himself a Kings fan could ever ask for. The Kings gave them that. These players gave them that on the final game of this road trip, and that needs to be acknowledged first and foremost. Before we talk about each guy individually, I want to talk about the Kings' big three. You can call them the old three, the veteran three, the big three in Sacramento, which is Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. Here's how the three of them have performed over this 3-game win streak, over this 3-game and 4-night stretch. In the Kings' win in Charlotte, Zach LaVine, 25 points, 10 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan, 22 points. Domantas Sabonis, 24 points, 11 rebounds. In last night's win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, Zach LaVine, 37 points. DeMar DeRozan, 28 points, 7 assists. Domantas Sabonis, 27 points and 9 rebounds. And now tonight in Detroit, Zach LaVine, 43 points. DeMar DeRozan, 37 points. Domantas Sabonis, a 19-point, 15 rebound, 10 assist, triple-double. Heavy minutes for the starters. Injuries to starters and key rotation players. No Jake LaRavia as well. He's been out. And your big three, your top three guys are stepping up in a major way at the end of this road trip, at the end of a season, at the time where you want to try and get hot and start playing your best basketball with the postseason looming. Your top three guys are stepping up. That deserves to be acknowledged. All right, no more beating around the bush. Zach freaking LaVine. Holy crap. What a heater. Like that, we saw him go on a heater similar to that in Sacramento earlier on this season. I think it was in early March or sometime around that time. Maybe not. Maybe it was late February. I honestly don't remember. Maybe it was very, very beginning of March. Zach LaVine was on a heater at that time too. It was during that time where he won the Western Conference Player of the Week. This was nuts, right? Like every single time he touched the ball over like a 4 or 5 minute stretch when Zach LaVine scored 16 straight points to end the third quarter and to open the fourth quarter. He scored 16 straight points for the Kings by himself. That's not a 16-0 Kings run. That's a 16-0 Zach LaVine run. Where every time he touched the ball and the defense was up on him, he just looked at the rim, pulled, and it was nothing but net every single time. LaVine's final stat line tonight, 43 points, 16 of 28 from the field, 8 of 11 from three-point range, also had 4 assists. Over the last 2 games combined, over the last 2 days, Zach LaVine has scored 80 points. Crazy. I talked about this after the Cavs game, and I'll reiterate it. This is what you need and expect Zach LaVine to be. I'm not talking about the point totals. I'm not even talking about the shot attempts. Zach LaVine, you are a microwave scorer. You are a bucket. Your job is to put the ball in the hoop and catch fire and get into that zone like you got in tonight where it doesn't matter who the defense throws at you. It doesn't matter where you're playing. You have a ball, there's a hoop, and every single time you throw it up, there's a very good chance it's going in that hoop. That is Zach LaVine's job. He is an offensive merchant. I don't care about the defense. I don't care about the playmaking. I don't care about assists. I don't care about rebounds. All that stuff is nice, but that's not you. That's not your job. This is what I expect from Zach LaVine on a game-in, game-out basis for the next 2 years that I believe he's going to be wearing a Kings uniform. Doesn't mean he's always going to have hot shooting nights, and there are going to be games where he maybe shoots you out of a game because he takes 15 shots and only makes 4 or 5 of them. That's going to happen. But this is what Zach LaVine is. This is who he is. This is what he does. I don't want to see the Kings try and make him anything different. What you do is you surround him with pieces that make up for those struggles, make up for the defense, make up for the rebounding, make up for the playmaking. Go and get him a true point guard. He doesn't have to be your number one option. He doesn't have to be your star, but his job is to score. Don't expect him to do anything less. And if it doesn't work, well then, oh well. That's the risk you take when you trade for Zach LaVine and make him a centerpiece of your team. But this is who Zach LaVine is. Shoot the ball and don't stop shooting. And then there's DeMar DeRozan. Super steady, super reliable. It's amazing that a 37-point performance can be overshadowed, and Cade Cunningham also scored over 30 for Detroit tonight, and he got big time overshadowed by LaVine. But 37 points, 14 of 26 from the field, 4 rebounds for DeMar DeRozan. He and LaVine are the 5th duo in the Sacramento era history of the Kings organization to score 35 or more points. I think Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox did it. I'm pretty sure De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis did it. I think Isaiah Thomas and Marcus Thornton did it. Like, there haven't been too many duos that have both scored 35 or more points in a game in Sacramento's history. LaVine and DeRozan added themselves to this list. And look, this is I know things have not worked out for DeMar ultimately here in Sacramento. I do still believe, regardless of what happens for the rest of the season and beyond, I do think DeMar DeRozan's days in Sacramento are numbered. I think the Kings are going to want to move on. I think he's going to want to move on. That could change, I suppose, but as of right now, I think that's the expectation. That being said, while DeRozan has his faults, and he's had struggles at times fitting in with Sacramento, the one thing that it's easy to take for granted that I think Kings fans are going to miss the most about DeMar if this is his only season in Sacramento. It's the thing that I told you about, that an assistant coach told me about this past offseason after the Kings acquired DeMar. When the Kings are struggling offensively, when it's in a rut, or it's late in the shot clock, or whatever, and they just need someone to go out and get them a bucket, DeMar's that dude. So even when Zach LaVine's going absolutely nuts, it's DeMar DeRozan hitting a tough turnaround jumper to help ice the game, and he's hitting the too small as he's running down the floor. Now, DeMar will take some shots down the stretch of the game, and you live or die with it, and it has killed the Kings at times, for sure. But the reliability of DeMar DeRozan as just a straight bucket getter for Sacramento is something that, yes, I and so many Kings fans have taken for granted this season, and we will miss when/if it's gone. Today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Robinhood and Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you get a 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times of the national savings average. It's the perks of the high net worth, now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here. With Robinhood Gold, to receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in the IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate. Claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. There were a trio, especially, of under-the-radar heroes for the Sacramento Kings in this win. And the first one we've already kind of talked about. It's crazy that a triple-double can go under the radar, but that's exactly what's happened for Domantas Sabonis, right? 19 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double for Domantas Sabonis. He took only 12 shot attempts. That's been something I've been harping on him lately. I want to see him shoot the ball more. Well, when DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine shoot 54 shot attempts combined and are cooking the way that they're cooking, okay, this is a pass. You get a pass for this game for not shooting as much, Domantas Sabonis. And when he did shoot, he was still efficient. But those guys were cooking. You got those guys the ball. I don't blame Domantas Sabonis, Keon Ellis, other guys that I like to see shooting the ball more. I don't blame them one bit for not shooting as much when those two were cooking the way that they were cooking. But Sabonis, this was a physical game. The Detroit Pistons like to play a very physical style of basketball. It was scrappy, it was handsy, it was gritty, and Sabonis is one of those guys that pays for that environment with the amount of times he freaking gets hit. But he also kind of welcomes that. That's the way he plays. He welcomes that physicality. So in a game like this, to have someone like Domantas Sabonis, who can not only put up that triple-double and do so many things that feature and help the games of LaVine and DeRozan. But to have somebody who does not back down from that physicality, plays that way, welcomes it when they face these teams like the Pistons or like the Rockets that want to establish this physicality, and you have a guy in Sabonis that thrives in it, it's a real boon to have for Doug Christie's Kings. Then there's Keon Ellis, who on paper, you're completely ignoring. Because on paper, he scored just 2 points, went just 1 of 2 from the field, and played 37 minutes. 2 shot attempts in 37 minutes. But, as Keon fans know very, very well, he had 3 steals. And, look, Cade got his, but Keon Ellis played some stellar defense on Cade Cunningham down the stretch. When the Pistons were leaning on Cunningham to basically outstar the Kings stars, it was very similar to what Donovan Mitchell tried to do with the Cavaliers against LaVine and DeRozan last night. Cunningham was trying to do it. And Keon said, no. You're going to have to work. I'm going to take the ball away from you a couple times. Keon Ellis was essential to Sacramento, not just holding on to win that game, but to holding the Pistons to just 45 points in the second half. Then there's Devin Carter. Okay, rookie. 7 points, 3 of 7 from the field, 3 rebounds, 1 steal in 22 minutes. Again, a stat line that is not going to impress too many people. A stat line that most people around the league who didn't watch this game are going to disregard. Fantasy fans are not going to care about. But Devin Carter went on a 7-0 run by himself. And that was before Zach LaVine got going. So, hey, maybe I can sweeten the deal for Carter a little bit, hype my man up a little bit, and say he inspired Zach LaVine to go on his own personal run. A 7-0 run by Devin Carter, 2 great takes to the basket, then knocked down a 3. Good on him. Way to play hard, Devin Carter. And that's the thing. Devin, his best moments over this first season, and really it's half a season because of the time he missed with injury, they come from just playing hard. From him being himself, right? Just being aggressive, being scrappy. He's gotten into foul trouble a lot recently. He fouled out against Cleveland pretty quickly. But it's because he's playing hard. He's battling. Doug Christie's fine with it. Doug Christie encourages it. I love it too. Like, learn by doing, kid. Just don't stop playing hard. And it intrigues me. I won't say it excites me because I don't know what I expect from Devin Carter. But it intrigues me. He's one of those guys that when we get to training camp next season, and while training camp is going on this fall before the start of next season, he's that guy that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. Now, I'm sure the Kings are going to have a lot of new faces or something's going to be different. It has to be by the start of next season. But if Devin Carter is still on the team, what does he look like with a full off season of work and hopefully a full training camp without being injured? Because what he's doing, he has those bright spots, he has those big stretches that are solely based, and I'm not saying he doesn't have skill, but they're solely based on the effort and hustle that he plays with. But when the game slows down a little bit, when he gets that experience, when he gets that time to work on his game and work with his coaches and work with his team without missing time because of injury, what will he look like? I'm very interested to see. Today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health, but traditional in-person therapy can be expensive, often ranging from $100 to even $250 per session. That's where BetterHelp comes in. With online therapy, you can get quality care at a price that makes sense, saving you both time and money. Therapy isn't just for life's toughest moments. It can help with everyday stress, learning how to set boundaries, developing positive coping skills. Having access to support when you need it can make a big difference. And I'm not just telling you this because they're a sponsor. I am a beneficiary of going and seeing a therapist. I've been seeing my therapist, TJ, regularly, really since COVID. And it has changed my life and helped me build these daily skills that just make life's curveballs a lot easier to hit. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. So recently I've been putting a call out for you, Locked On Kings listeners, Kings fans, to send me videos. Send me videos that answer the question, is this the most disappointing Kings season ever? Yes or no, and why? You could have a positive spin, you could have a negative spin. You can answer the question, then take it where you want to take it. This Locked On Kings platform, of course, is something that I've built, and I've been blessed to have this opportunity with Locked On to build this show over the last, 8 years that I've been doing it. But it's not just a place for me to tell you how I feel and you just listen and then go about your day. If you want to do that, fantastic, and I appreciate you for it. But this is also a place for you to let your voice be heard. So I'm encouraging this more. Send videos, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com. Your thoughts just on this season, what you want to say, and I'm trying to pick one at least to play on every single show, at least for the remainder of this season. And today I've got a video from Jim Britz, and he titled the video, "The Opinion No One Is Sharing." Take it away, Jim.
Hey, my name's Jim. Grew up in Davis, been a Kings fan since Reggie Theus has been in the Baby Blues, but at age 18, moved to Southern California, where I've been surrounded by horrific Lakers fans, but I've been a diehard Kings fan the whole time. And so grateful for this podcast. Finally, somebody, Matt, who believes that the Kings are the center of the sports universe like you. And how could I not agree that this season has been disappointing? But I want to categorically disagree with two things, Matt, you've shared over and over again, and just about everybody's agreed with you. And the first one is that the Kings should just tank the rest of this season. No way. We never make the playoffs. That we have 4 games to go, and we still have a likely shot to be in the play-in. We're going to beat Dallas, the team that we would play in the second round. Man, any one of those we feel better than about the Pelicans from last year. And then we make the Holy Grail, the playoffs, which should be like the NBA championships for any other team. And then it's a clean slate. And if we get hot, who knows what could happen. So for sure, I am all in. Let's get as far as we can go. We are too close. Number 2, that we should dump this team, that we shouldn't run it again. I think we are defining what running it again is all wrong. Running it again is every 2 years, dumping our coach and just about all of our players, getting new players and a new coach and hoping lightning strikes in a bottle and it will finally work. That's worked one time in the last about 20 years. Instead, let's keep our guys together. Sabonis is solid. He's a great King who loves Sacramento. LaVine, okay, he's not Fox, but man, he's been clutch and he's a great player. DeRozan, man, we got him for a couple years. Let's let him love Sacramento and all these guys play together. That whole supporting cast, man, those guys are great. And if we would run this team again for another year, don't you think, especially with LaRavia and Valanciunas, that we have a good shot of being in the mid-40s to high 40s with the team we have now? I say run them again, and especially with Doug Christie, who is respected by the team and loved in our city. Love you guys.
Shout out Jim for that video. Appreciate his perspective. Nice to get probably a little bit of a positive perspective that's different from my own. So I appreciate that. So with this win, the Kings now have a 1-game lead over the Dallas Mavericks in 9th. Remember, the Kings also own the tiebreaker over the Mavericks. I believe they beat them all 3 times. They swept them this series or this season. So the Kings have the tiebreaker, and now they have a 1-game advantage. Both teams have 3 games to go. So there's a very good chance that the Kings hold on to 9th and will host the first round of the play-in, which I did not think was going to happen as early as 4 or 5 days ago when the Kings lost to the Washington Wizards. On top of that, any Kings win over these final 3 games or Phoenix Suns loss means that the Kings have clinched at least a play-in spot, meaning the Kings at worst can fall to 10. At the very worst. Doesn't mean the Suns are completely out of it, although more than likely they're completely out of it. And by the way, like I said, all it takes is one Suns loss. The Kings don't even have to play and win to clinch. One Suns loss, and they clinch a play-in spot. And the Phoenix Suns take on the Golden State Warriors tomorrow night, and they're without Kevin Durant. So the Kings, when they play their first home game of this homestand to finish the season on Wednesday, they may have already clinched a play-in spot. So we'll have to wait and see. But for those of you who were hoping that over this final 3-game homestand that these 3 games would be on the easier side because maybe the playoff teams would be resting talent, right? The Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers. They're going to be playoff teams in the West. Maybe they're going to be resting guys as they get ready for their playoff series. I don't think that's going to happen because the Denver Nuggets, who the Kings play on Wednesday, are sitting in 4th place in the West. But here's the thing. They are just half a game above seeds 5 through 8. 7 and 8 being play-in spots. The Nuggets in 4th are still facing a very real possibility of being a play-in team if things don't go their way over these final handful of games. On top of that, the LA Clippers, who the Kings play on Friday, I believe, they're one of the teams, they're actually technically in 5th, but they're one of the teams that is tied from 5th through 8th. So they can't afford to drop games either. So the Kings are likely going to get the best that the Nuggets and the Clippers have before their final game of the season on Sunday against the Suns. But the Kings are playing damn good basketball right now, too. They just beat 2 really good Eastern Conference teams. Let's see if they can keep that rolling or if they keep us going on this up and down roller coaster. Because, man, we were low. We were low a handful of days ago. Now we're high up again. I don't know about you. Like, with all these ups and downs and loop-de-loops this season, I'm sick to my stomach. We'll see how it plays out. Share with me your videos. Share with me your thoughts. Hit me up at MattGeorgeSack on Twitter. Email me, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com. Leave your thoughts in the YouTube comment section down below. Appreciate your support as always. Can't wait to see you at the Golden One Center over this final homestand and maybe a play-in game. We'll see. My name is Matt George. You've been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.